Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Friday Facebook Live. Haven't done one since December, but I thought on this cold January day, what is it, January 11th, that it might be time to do another one. So I'm here with my hot chocolate, and I hope some of you are tuning in, although lately we think we've had some trouble about Facebook Live notifications. But anyway, I hope you're here. I hope you're having an amazing start to 2019. I know that we took a nice long break, Jer and I, over the holidays and just came back to the office on Monday. So it has been a busy week. Hi, Lincoln and Jeremy, and Jer is here, which is great. Hi, Jer. And Val and Laura, great, glad you're here. What I wanted to talk about today was something that actually I would say happened to me in December. So in December, I had the great honor of doing a presentation on the main stage at the convention of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers. And it's the third time that I've had that incredible honor. And so it was really important to me to do new content. Now, there's nothing like speaking in front of 200 of your peers and promising yourself that you're going to do about 85% new content to get the nerves up a little, but it was a great exercise. But months ago, I had to come up with a title. And the title that I chose was The Truth Is. Now, I wasn't quite sure what that meant at the time. I just needed to have a title. I gave no description. That was just it. The truth is ... And so over the months that led up to the presentation, I did a lot of thinking about truth. And I came across, or I should say that there were several ideas about truth that crystallized. And that's what I wanted to share with you here today. So I'm not going to keep rambling on. There were five things about truth that I realized. And the first thing is that there's no such thing as truth. So let me explain. When I started to do some research about truth, I came across something called perception tunnels, reality tunnels. And this concept was launched in the 60s. And basically what it says is that our truths are all made up of our own experiences and perspectives. Now, that may not sound too unique or bizarre or cutting edge, but if you start to think about it, what you realize is there is no such thing as truth. The only thing that there is your truth, our truth. The interesting thing about these reality tunnels is that they're invisible. They're invisible. Isn't that a neat thought? Those reality tunnels are invisible, which means that all of those realities and experiences that make up our truth, our individual truth, which is kind of like a snowflake. Nobody else has the truth that you have. Nobody. Now, we can share some truths, and yes, there's things like universal truths because everybody thinks that they're true, and there are facts. But in terms of the truth, the only truth that there is your truth, made up of all of those perceptions and experiences that you have from your own personal, unique reality tunnel. And so if we start from the concept that there's no such thing as truth, then the next thing I learned was that to grow in life and to live life to its fullest, we need to understand our truth. That's the first step. The first step is we have to understand our truth, which means that we need to be really honest about what perceptions, what experiences have influenced our truth. Laura says, the truth is, you're an amazing, beautiful soul. Happy New Year. Sorry, I started to read that comment out loud before I realized what it was. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. And it's great to see you and to have you here. So the interesting thing is that we need to hold ourselves accountable for understanding our own truths. Interestingly enough, I'm probably going to be doing a series of events in the fall that's all about managing money. Now, I don't know why I'm I do know why I'm on the agenda. I'm not on the agenda to help people manage their money, but I am on the agenda to help people challenge their perceptions about the role that money has in their life. And so in other words, we need to challenge our perceptions. Everybody has a reality tunnel when it comes to money. You know, a lot of you know I travel with this bright red ladder, and I often say the better is at the bottom of the ladder, but different is at the top of the ladder, but I would also say that our reality tunnels are what hold us at the bottom of our ladders. And so once we understand our truth, then if we truly want to grow as human beings, we need to grow our truth. We need to grow our truth. I read a statistic the other day that said that 87% of people actually passionately believe that we should seek out other people's opinions and perspectives. But of that 87%, only 23% actually do. So isn't that a great question for all of us? How often do you actively seek out the other perceptions, the other ideas that people have that may not necessarily be aligned with your truth? So the only way to grow our truth, once we understand our truth, is to have this influx of other people's ideas and perspectives that can help us walk up that ladder, climb up that ladder, grow our truth, expand our truth, so that once we're sitting on top of that ladder, we really understand what our truth is. And it's a broader truth, not just based on our own experiences and reality tunnels, but on other people's as well. So there we are sitting at the top of the ladder. We know our truth, we understand our truth, and we have sought to grow our truth or to expand our truth. But here's the thing. We can be inundated by other people's truths, right? So we've challenged our truth. We've challenged our truth. We've gotten up to the top of the ladder, but we don't have to take everybody's opinions into consideration. And that's the flip side of this, particularly on what I would call social plus media, meaning media has this huge definition these days. Anything we read on social is actually media. So how do we filter out? How do we get to the point where we understand our own truth? Once we've challenged it, once we're at the top of the ladder, how do we define our own truth? How do we know what our own truth is? And there's a lot of work involved in that, and analyzing and in thinking about other people's opinions, and then coming back or finding this new place where we are in our truth. And then I guess once we know our truth, the question is to trust our truth. And here was one of the really interesting things about this presentation that I did in December. So I am never scripted, but I am always prepared. I always have whatever I'm going to say planned out. I always say I've got this hard drive in my head with information, experiences, and stories that I want to share. But I have a plan. Going into every presentation, I have a plan. And this one, folks, this one I could not nail down for the life of me. For the life of me, I could not nail down what I had to say. 4 o'clock in the morning, the night before the presentation, I'm in a sweat in my hotel room because I'm going to get up in front of all of my peers and I have no idea what I'm going to say. I had a bit of a handle on the opening, although I changed it at about 5 o'clock in the morning. But everything was flux. Everything was in flux, and I was terrified. And I remember thinking just before I walked out on stage that morning, is that with everything I'd learned about truth, I had to trust my own. I had to trust my own truth. You see, your truth, as I said, is made up of all of those experiences, all of those perspectives that you have acquired, that knowledge. You have a body of knowledge. You have a body of insights. You have a body of experiences that make up your truth. And once, it doesn't matter whether you're 20 years old or 60 years old, at some point, once we've gotten to the top of that ladder, and of course our truth is continuing to evolve, but we have to learn to trust it. And that's what I said to myself. I said, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to talk about truth. I have to trust my truth. I have to trust that I know deep in my heart and in my brain and in my mind what it is that I want to say, and that it will come out the way it needs to come out in that moment. And it did. It was terrifying, but it was a really valuable lesson to learn, because at some point in our lives, we all just need to trust our truth. And that could be trust the truth of walking away from something. It could be trusting the truth of letting go of something. It could be trusting the truth of going through a door. But at some point, trust your gut really means trust your truth. What do you know? What have you experienced? What is your reality tunnel now, today? Not the truth you might have been stuck in 5 years ago, 2 years, or even 2 months ago. But what is your truth today, and what are you going to do with that truth? And how are you going to trust that truth? And then I think the last thing that I would say about truth is that it's really important to live your truth. You know, we talk about being inundated with other people's perceptions and ideas. And here's the bottom line, that when all of those different perspectives are coming in, it can be great, but it can also be overwhelming. And other people's definitions of self-worth can impact our own. I mean, give me an amen if you have ever gone on Facebook or any other social media, scrolled through what everybody else was doing and gone, oh my heavens, I feel fill in the blank. Sometimes I feel great, but I've had so many people say to me that when they go on social media and see not necessarily the real truth, or as David has called it, the objective truth, they're not seeing the real truth of somebody's life. They're only seeing the good truth. And I would even question that sometimes, whether that's really the truth. So has that ever happened to you? Do you ever see what is going on in other people's lives and go, I wish that was my truth. I wish that was my truth. But here's the thing. The thing is that in life and living your truth, the only right answers are the answers that are right for you. And I'm going to repeat that. The only right answers in life are the answers that are right for you. We can take all of this other information in, but the bottom line is we need to find out what our own truth is. And once you know that truth, you have to have the courage to live that truth. You see, living your truth isn't necessarily about what you can do. Living your truth is about what you're here to do. And that's a very different thing. Living your truth isn't about what you want to do. Living your truth is about what the world needs you to do. So how many truths you have lived and experienced to get to where you are on your life journey today, the only truth that matters is what your truth is today, what your truth is today at the top of the ladder. Because the greatest gift that we can give, not only to each other, but to the world, is to know our truth and own our truth, understand our truth, expand our truth, and live our truth. And so the only questions that really remain are, what is your truth? And what does the world need you to do next? What is your truth? And what does the world need you to do next? And those are the two things I took away, amongst many other things, from the presentation that I had the honor to do in December. So thank you for showing up. We got an amen from Jer, and I hope you've enjoyed this quick little Facebook Live. I'd love to hear your comments, whether you're here live or listening to it on the replay. I hope that you have a relatively warm January wherever you are. And if you're in cold places, that you drink lots of hot chocolate. That's part of my truth. And hopefully we'll see you really soon again on another Facebook Live. Have a great Friday, everybody. Bye.